a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around, and I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. It is episode 225, and this is going to be fun because I don't do any work after I make the announcements. I just sit around. Patrick Tinney, let's go. Patrick, thank you for being here. My dear friend Patrick Tinney is the author of 4 great sales books and is the crazy man that just did Sales Gorilla. If you want over 900 videos on how to sell and how to negotiate better, join Sales Gorilla. Patrick is doing a great job with that product, and it's a great platform. 24/7 learning about sales. Let's see. Let's see. This is either Tara or it's RJ. Your insight, experience, and passion continue to inspire and guide the next generation of sleep professionals. That sounds like my friend RJ. Thank you, RJ, for being here from Jacksonville Bedding, Mattresses, and more. So, thank you, Chris, for putting that up. You know that the minute you put something up, it's like squirrel, right? So, let's pay the bills real quick and get to Ask Pete. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? 101 tips on how to get more traffic into your stores and how to make more money. The best compliment I ever got on the book was from my dear friend Doug Stewart. And he said, take the word mattress and furniture out and just read the book. It's a great marketing book, and that's what it is. For those of you who want a sales book, I've got one. Miles and miles of retail selling greatness, how to sell more mattresses this year. This isn't just my book. It is Scott Vaughn's book. It is Brent Batterman's book. It is Jeff Giannakavo's book. It is Steve Karn's book. It is my friend Randy Thompson's book. It is Chris Tahaney's book. All of those gentlemen shared with us a chapter, or in some cases 2 chapters. And so it's a great book. It's based on over 2 million miles of travel, 43 years of experience. And I've been super blessed to have great mentors. I've worked for some of the smartest guys and gals in the mattress business, and I'm very thankful for it. Before we get started, though, I need to say thank you to Chris. Chris is the best producer in the world. He knows what he's dealing with. I'm a squirrel chaser, so he's got to keep me on track visually. Thank you, Steve, and thank you, Greg, for sponsoring our show. If you guys are in the mattress industry, we want you in this group, Mattress Industry Network group. Learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry. Everybody's in here, guys, whether you're a retailer, whether you work a retail floor, you're a store owner, you're a sales rep, you're a VP of sales, you own a manufacturing company, you're the president of a manufacturing company. Everybody's in here. Learn how to negotiate better, learn how to market better, learn how to merchandise better. It's all in this group. It's free and over 2,500 strong. Hit the Scan Me Now button. And with that, I'm going to turn it over. Oh, I've got one more. Thank you. My dear friends, Scott Vaughn and Scott Bidwell are having another incredible masterclass in Paducah, Kentucky on June 8th and through the 10th. If you haven't gone to one of these, you have to. If you have gone to one and you want to come back again, I've made every single one of them, I believe. And use Pete 2025. That's all capitals, capital PETE 2025 for $200 off. And with that, I will turn over the reins to my producer, who will now be hosting the show. Welcome, Chris.
Pete Primeau, as I live and breathe in the virtual flesh. Ladies and gentlemen, Ask Pete. The shoes on the other foot. Is that how we say this? I get to talk to you. Patrick Tinney, thank you for joining us. Pat, of course, is at sales-gorilla.com, friend of the show, multi guest on the Pete Primeau show. And look who joined just in time for us to talk about Wingo Coaching.win. Scott Vaughn says, "You're a legend, Pete." And you got a lot of people talking about your legendary status,
Yeah,
RJ.
I think people like to exaggerate. Thank you, Scott. That makes me feel old, but I appreciate you, brother, more than you know.
So before we get started, and let me just give the ground rules to everybody who's joining for Ask Pete. If you're live stream, if you're joining us for the live here, and it's Monday at 12 noon Eastern on May 19th, 2025. You ask a question in the chat and we'll pop you to the top of the line. But we've got plenty of questions of folks that couldn't make the live, and that's what Ask Pete's about. So we have plenty of time to talk. But Pete, I've got a question for you before we start.
Sure.
Yeah. So I figure since I'm pushing the buttons, and the shoe's on my foot, I get to ask the first question.
You do.
And I don't want to make this necessarily a dark thing, but 3-4 days ago, I heard about something and saw something about something that happened near you, and had to do with the Monroe murder, murder, which was in Cleveland, Ohio, and your phone probably blew up because a lot of people know that you're sort of in that area, and just wanted to ask you about it. And was this close by you? Was this how did it affect you personally?
Well, it affected me very much personally, specifically on Wednesday when it happened. It was literally it happened 4 doors down at the corner of Doris and Munn Road. And I literally drove past where the shooting was maybe 2 minutes before it happened, if that. I heard boom, boom in my driveway, and I was between appointments, and I was on time for the second one, but barely. And so I heard boom, boom, and I thought it was a car backfiring, Chris. I did not know that it was a gunshot. And so I went past where the shooting was, and there was a woman running kind of in front of my car. And so I paused and I saw Tom, our neighbor, actually laying down, and I saw his lawnmower. And so I called Jenny and I said, "Jenny, did you hear that boom, boom?" And she goes, "Yeah, I heard it." And I said, "Well, so if you see a house with a large pink shrub, that's my house." Anyway, uh, getting back. Yeah. So that's how I almost got shot.
Oh.
So I did not know that it was a shoot-in at the time. And I said to Jenny, I think his lawnmower blew up. Somebody is coming to help him. So you don't need to go out. And just in case it was a gunfire, don't go out. Well, I hear all this noise. It's my wife being who she is. She's got a heart as big as all of Montana. And you're not going to tell her what she can and can't do. So unfortunately, Tom, who was lived on the corner 4 houses down from me, died. And we didn't know that right at the beginning. I was probably 5 minutes away, 10 minutes away by the time I found out that he was actually dead. And then we basically, and I said, Jen, it's got to be Crazy Man. So Crazy Man lives 2 doors down from me, right next to Tom. And Crazy Man does have a name, but I'm not going to use it. And I've had some problems with the guy. Everybody in the neighborhood's had problems with the guy at different times. So I went to the appointment. I came home. When I came home, I had heard that before I got home, I had heard that they put an APB out for that car. They found the car about 2 or 3 miles away in the metro parks, and Crazy Man had committed suicide. And listen, obviously he had a mental health problem at a bare minimum. And, it's a complete and total tragedy.
Wow.
And it really, really hit home. When I got back home, I couldn't get to my house. I had to dog leg around a couple of different times and park a few, maybe four doors down on the other side of the road, because they had the crime scene tape.
Right.
So then what really was sobering, and to show you how precious and fragile life is, there was a bullet hole in my neighbor across the street. So I literally drove in the path of the bullet.
Wow.
If I had been there a little bit sooner, he probably would have shot me instead of Tom, is probably what would have happened, because I was probably target number 1. But that's actually from one of our neighbor across the street's house. So yeah, a complete tragedy. And something like this happens. Obviously you feel bad for the person that it happened to. You feel bad for his family and all of that. But then you just have to look up to the sky and say, you know what? Thank you for life, Lord. And thank you for sparing me, because that could have been me. It may not have made it to the neighbor's house. That bullet could have hit me in my car as I was going to my appointment. So,
wow.
Yeah, crazy. So yeah, very, very, very scary stuff.
Yeah, Marnie's chiming in. Wow, Pete, I'm sorry everyone had to experience that. Yeah, and I think, sometimes we get in the the hustle, the bustle, or whatever you want to, and you forget about just how life can just at any moment in time. So you want to cherish every moment, take every obviously take every precaution. But I think had you taken every precaution which you normally did, you still could have. I know you're a man of faith, and you believe that there is a reason why you weren't in the path that day. And we're certainly glad, Pete, that you weren't, and that you're still here, so we can ask you questions about the mattress industry and leadership. And you see how he did that transition, Pete.
Doesn't it just seem like it doesn't even matter?
Yeah, it does. I did my best. I did my best to transition, man.
It's heavy, it's heavy. And the words keep going through my head. By the grace of God go I.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to say, but when you realize how close you came to buying it and you didn't even know, like, my Lord. So yeah, that's it. So what you got there, Chris?
Well, okay. So if anybody's got any questions in the chat, we're all over the place: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're here to answer any questions. And so we're gonna roll right now into a question number one from Bruce. Bruce asks, Pete, what is your response to a customer who says they never buy from the first place they shop at? First place being your store. Also, it happened yesterday where a customer decided on an address and then they went to sit down. Let me start talking and say that they still want to look around other places. I think it was because I told them that she will take a couple of days for me to get it and didn't have it in stock right away. And this is Bruce from the Mattress Industry Network Group.
Yeah, Bruce, this is one that I had promised you a video of my answer, so I'm going to do it in two
Here's the
different
video.
pieces. The first is, I've had this happen to me before. People actually give you the Heisman, like, hey, leave me alone. I don't buy at the first place that I come into. I've literally walked up to them and said, well, come here. Walk them out the door and say, all right, this isn't the first place you've been to now. You're coming in for the second time. So let's talk about what you really need. And I have done that. And I saw that some other gentlemen in the group had done it too. And it actually works. Has to be done gently with a lot of humor. You have to be laughing. If you have any nervousness about you, it won't work and it will backfire on you. So if you are brand new in the sales game and you can't just have a good laugh about it with the customer, don't try to do what I just said. Now, we found out a few questions in that it actually happened at the very end of the sale. And my friend Jeff Janakovo got very, very close to my take on it. My take is this, Bruce. You probably, despite, and I know what you're going to do now, you're going to protest and you're going to say, oh no, I did, but you didn't because, well, you might have, but you didn't do it a second time. So this is what happens. If you qualify about how soon do they need it, it has to be done with really kid gloves if you're doing it early in the sale. And you have to almost tell the customer why you're asking. And the reason you're asking them how soon they need it, if you do find the right thing for them, and if they do want to go ahead with it, the reason you're asking them is so that you can show them the right products. And you just say it basically that way. I'm asking so that I can show you the right things. I don't want to show you something that, I can't get my hands on for a few weeks and you actually need it today. So that's the only reason I'm asking. I'm not being presumptuous. I'm just asking so that I can help you the best way possible. So that's that. What the customers do sometimes, Bruce, to us, they're not buying in their mind, right? And like, if you do your job the right way, they end up buying, right? But now you get them to the table and they're ready to write it up and they find out that they can't get it right away and they really needed it right away. So that's when this whole discussion about I don't buy at the first place I come into started. But really, I think it was a smoke screen for the fact that they really wanted it earlier, and that wasn't qualified out. And don't take this to heart too much. My take on it is probably needed to be qualified a second time out. because customers change in the middle of the sale. They go from somebody who's just trying to fend off a salesperson to a person who now trusts you and is actually going to take your recommendation. But now that lie they told earlier in the conversation is going to come back to haunt both of you. So bringing up the conversation again a second time about, you seem like you're pretty serious about this. So what is your time frame? And if they just want to push you away, and they don't really want it, they'll say, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. Whenever you get it is fine." Or they could actually have fallen in love with it, and they really don't care anymore about the time frame. The time frame was just something that was a smokescreen. So, just a few thoughts on that. Slightly different, Bruce, but keep doing what you're doing. I see your sales increasing, so congratulations on that, and congratulations for being vulnerable enough to ask questions in the group that a lot of other people are probably thinking about too, and they just don't have the guts to ask. So thanks for always being in there, Bruce, and always asking questions.
Yeah, to me, it seems a little odd that this would be a situation where I have to have it now becomes the most important thing for someone, right? Like, so, like obviously price is a huge thing for people. Like availability for a mattress is like we just moved in and I have to have a mattress to sleep on, right? So I need that. Well, you may not get the best price, and you may not get this specific mattress that you really, really like, right? So, but I can get you the one that you really, really like. It might take a couple extra days. So what does a store do in that aspect? Like, you can't really give them a loaner mattress, right? It's not
no,
like
there are
really?
stores. Yeah,
Okay.
I would say more stores than not in that situation will provide a loaner mattress immediately.
Interesting.
And they have some mattresses that they keep in the back, usually a firm version and a softer version that is
Wow.
designated specifically for that
Okay.
purpose. And in some states, you can't do it. California might be one of those states that you can't do it.
Oh, that you're not allowed to even do that. Okay.
But most of our retailers will offer a loaner if they have a good customer and that is a concern, and they'll do that. So yeah, that a loaner is a creative solution that is available in most states.
Interesting. So what do people ever come into stores, or have you ever heard? I'm guessing the answer is probably yes, because you've done this for 40 plus years. But do people come in and say, I want this mattress. In fact, I want you to sell me the floor model at a discount?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes sometimes you have bargain hunters, and other times you have people that want a particular mattress, don't want to wait for it. And yeah, they'll take a floor model. And so sometimes a floor model is an option. It just depends on where you're at. If it's one of your best selling beds, it's not worth it to take off the floor. You're better off losing the one sale than losing 10 sales in the week that it's going to take you to get a new one on the floor. So, now if it's a dog, great, let it go and replace it with something new and fresh. And
exactly.
Thank the good Lord above, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm jumping myself into the front of the line. So now this makes question number 3 for me, and maybe this is my quota per show. What about somebody that walks into a store and says, I need multiple mattresses, right? The same type, maybe even the same type of mattress, if you've got them in stock, and get a sort of a quantity discount for X amount of mattresses. It feels like a nice problem to have, right? You can sell more mattresses, but instead of selling 5 at price X, you're selling 5 or 10 at price X minus a certain amount, a discount, because they want to buy multiple mattresses at one particular store. Does that? I mean, I would assume that's very rare, but does that happen?
It's rare. It does happen. And it's great if it happens with a company like BIA or a company that doesn't have maps.
Yeah.
With a company that has stringent maps and they enforce them, it's not fun because you can't give them a discount.
Okay. Got it. Marnie's jumping in here and says, on this topic, I had a guest who needed a king right away, and I had a queen floor model available. He took the queen and ordered the king. He decided to use the queen for his RV once the king has arrived. Oh, well, look at that. A little bonus. That's some... Marnie should be hosting this show. That's some good sales right there.
That's great, Marnie. I remember when that happened. I was on the front end of that, but I didn't hear the back end of that. And it might even be a different customer than but that you just have to look up to the sky and say, thank you, Lord, right?
Yeah.
That's great, Marnie. Thanks for sharing
good
that
stuff. All right, let's get back to these questions. We've got question number 2. Let's drive down to one that came in just recently here. This is Curious in California. Pete, why did you choose becoming a rep versus owning your own store? Do you ever regret that decision? Here we go, hypothetical time. If you inherited a lot of money, would that have changed your decision? Also, hypothetically, you wanted to open up a store in this economy. Would you take investments from family, friends? And how would you get the startup funding, SSB loans? Lots of questions in there. I'll leave that one up because this is gonna be a short one.
Curious in California. We could go on for days about this, but in the interest of trying to be succinct, I will take these one at a time. I chose a rep versus owning my own store primarily because I wanted freedom. I had worked in a store for 9 years. I had written out business plans for owning my own store. But I chose to become a rep because I like the idea of having freedom. And the reality is most reps work way more than you do when you own your own store. The good ones, and the bad ones don't, and then the bad ones get replaced. But my daughter doesn't want anything to do with our business. She sees the way Jenny works and the way I work. It never ends. You have to absolutely love the business. And if you're a rep, you're literally working 24/7. Now, do you have the freedom to go to the kids' baseball games and the soccer games and volleyball games and all that good stuff? Yeah, you do. You do. But you have to make up for that time and you have to be available a lot. So I chose the rep avenue because it became available to me. I pursued it. I had a mentor who modeled it for me, and I saw that it could be good, and I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but I've never been afraid of work in my life. I mean, I was a kid that started off with 3 paper routes and ended up with I started with 1 paper route, ended up with 3 paper routes, and then I had to kind of bring it back down to 1 as a senior in high school because the 3 was getting to be too much. But what's the second question? That's the first question. It was available to me, and
do you have any regrets making that decision?
No. I've curious in California, I've had a magical career, and even the things that could have been seen as a negative were really God's hand on my life and blessing me in incredible ways. I don't think I would have the heart or the business acumen that I have without my retail, the 9 years I spent in retail. As a store manager and a sales trainer and a salesperson. But no, I think the rep thing was the right thing for me. I get real antsy. It's hard for me to do this hour-long show. I do not like staying in the same place. I want to go. I always want to go. So if you inherited a lot of money, would that have changed your decision? No, I don't think so. I absolutely love what you do, what I do. Also, hypothetically, you wanted to open up a store in this economy. Would you take investments from family, friends? That's interesting. So, given my exact history, no, I don't need to. I can open up a store anytime I want to. I don't want to. I love what I do. I love the seasons. I love driving in my car, seeing my dealers. I love hearing their stories. I love meeting new dealers and hearing their origin stories. I literally have absolutely fallen in love with what I do as a rep, and I own a repping company as well. So I have other reps that work with me and Jenny. So I'm just very, very, very blessed. So if you're asking me, no, I wouldn't borrow money. But if you're asking me hypothetically for somebody else, yes, it might be the right thing. But I'm going to tell you this. And I happen to know who this is, and you're really a good person. And when you're really a good person and you take somebody else's money, you better be sure. You better have done your homework. You better have a really, really good 5 and 10-year business plan for this. And so that would be my advice. You've got to be sure. How would you get startup funding, SSB loans? Yeah, you could do SSB loans, and that's not SSB, the company, even though SSB right now is probably pretty easy to do business with and practically put you into business, but you'd be beholden to them, and they're cold, and they're not. That's not the line that's hot right now. So, and that is the problem. So this kind of begs the question, curious about subsidies. Like, there are companies that will literally put you into business. I mean, BIAs pretty much will do that for you. If you're 100% BIA, pretty much wouldn't have any sample costs, pretty much would have pricing and terms that are absurdly ridiculous. The only thing you'd have to probably come up with is first and last month's rent, and you might even get some help there. So Tempur Sealy has done some deals like that in the past. Now that they own, thousands of stores with Mattress Firm, they don't need to do that. Back in the day, I've heard of some awful crazy deals, and I've seen them, and I've watched, I've been in the rooms as the deals closed where we literally bought the business. Like, I was in a meeting with a name brand, and I was the rep on the account, and there was a 40% subsidy just on co-op. That was without a floor sample allowance and everything else. We literally bought the business. So that stuff happens. It's available. But I'm just going to say this to you, my friend, curious in California. When you take something, be very careful that you have read the fine print, because you are now going to be beholden to them in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. And you might need to have a couple different attorneys really look at an agreement, because there will be things in there that you don't quite understand. So, yes, you can get a lot of help from manufacturers, but what I would really focus on is you being the orchestrator of your own concert, and you having complete control over your business. And the way to do that is to have a good, solid business plan in place. So you've been doing this for a little bit. I know you're getting antsy, but I would encourage you to spend a few more years continuing to improve. And no matter how great of a salesperson you are at retail, owning it's a whole nother can of worms. You have to learn how to advertise. You have to learn how to negotiate leases. You have to learn how to negotiate with the vendors. There's a lot to learn. And if this is a direction that you're going in, this is the book for you. This book, Sell a Million. It's a marketing book specifically for mattresses. But I would tell you this: do not, under any conditions, open a store without doing two more things that are even more important than what I just told you. The first is join MRT. It is literally $97 or $99 a month. It's stupid. I'm a member of MRT. My fabulous producer and host today just put it up there. Mattress Retailer Toolkit. Yeah, you, Chris.com. Go to mattressretailertoolkit.com, join, pay your $97 a month, and get literally advice that's worth thousands and thousands. And if you are going to be a store owner, could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions to you in your career. Then the second thing I would do is I would go to Paducah, like in June. Even if it's a few years away, do it today, right now, because that playbook that you're going to get is going to be viable. And if you combine MRT and you combine the masterclass together, you will literally be unstoppable. And I mean, those are the things that I would recommend that you do to get ready.
And speak of the angel in Paducah, Kentucky, Scott Vaughn is in the chat and says, in my opinion, never marry a manufacturer.
I agree, Scott. Never marry a manufacturer, because you might find out that she's been cheating on you all along.
he or she, Pete, he or she.
Yes. Yes.
Questions are coming in hot. This could be Tara or RJ here, Jacksonville Bedding, mattresses and more. If you were 25 again, Pete, and just starting in this industry, what would you do differently? Ooh.
JR, that is a great question.
RJ, Pete.
RJ, not JR. I am sorry, I did it.
You must have been a Dallas fan of the show.
I did
Dallas.
watch Dallas when I was a kid. RJ knows I love him. So listen, it's a great question. So when I was 25, I had just graduated college. And, I still had that whole jock thing going on. I was a two-time All-American in a Division III college, disappointed that I hadn't made pro football, really had a chip on my shoulder. I did not want to be selling anything. I wanted to be a pro football player. And I think it took me a couple of major moments before I understood that the past is the past and I need to become a student of this game. And had I done that quicker, I would have had more success faster. So I would just say this: be a student, always be hungry, always be inquisitive, always ask questions. I didn't start off that way. I started off as a maven, as a know-it-all. And, I thought people were just going to magically buy from me. And I didn't understand the work that needed to be done to get to that place. But once somebody laid out the roadmap for me, I attacked it and I had success after that. But be a student, always be learning, be inquisitive, and be the hardest worker wherever you're working. You know, be that guy or that gal, and always work for something bigger than yourself. You know, wanting a nice car, wanting a nice house, that's all good and well. And those things are nice, and it's nice. But when you start to sell for orphans and widows like I do, it changes. It's magical because it's bigger than you. It's bigger than the big house. It's bigger than the nice car. It's bigger than the nice clothes. It's bigger than people praising you. When you have something that really drives you, I think that's incredibly huge. And if I had a bigger purpose earlier on, I mean, I was just a kid, man. I was a poor kid, and all I wanted was air conditioning. I wanted to sell enough so I could have an air conditioner.
Wow. That's perspective right there.
That was my first goal, guys. So
Scott Vaughn chimes in and says, the masterclass is literally what I wish I knew 20 years ago when I started. We're going to cover everything to get the door to swing, sales process, adjustable base training, merchandising, hiring, etc.
And don't forget, put in Pete 2025 and save $200 off.
Bam. wingocoaching.win/2025. Pete 2025 is the code to get you $200 off. How about that? Did that sound like a commercial?
Sound like a commercial.
All they need is like reverb, like a truck pull commercial. They would today only. All right, Pete. All right, I think we've cleaned up what's backstage here, or in the comments. We've got another one. This one, this one could take 3 hours, but we're gonna take 15 minutes maybe on this. And this is from Concerned in Connecticut. Concerned in Connecticut asks, Pete, AI is here to stay. I'm fearful that it will replace my job as a sales rep. I know you and your team cover several states with several lines. Are you afraid that AI will replace our jobs?
No. Next question.
Come on, that's it.
No, absolutely not.
Why not,
So,
Pete?
I'm going to tell you this. AI is a tool like a hammer or a nail. It's more complicated than a hammer. And so you need to become a student of AI. And, I just bought, Bryn Tillman's got a new book out. What's Bryn's book? I just ordered it It's being delivered on Wednesday. And it's all about prompts. And then she's got another book coming in, LinkedIn and AI together. And she co-authored that book with Jeb Blunt, and I have that. Yeah, that's it right there. Prompt Write-In Made Easy. I just ordered that book. I recommend everybody that's listening to order that book right now.
For those that are just listening, it's by Bryn Tillman, which is spelled BRYNNE, Tillman, TILLMAN. Prompt Writing Made Easy, using the Crispy framework to leverage AI authentically. Crispy framework.
And then right below that, you'll see the book that her and Jeb wrote.
The LinkedIn Edge.
The LinkedIn Edge. And that's not available. I have that on pre-order right now. I would do that LinkedIn Edge too. If I'm a store owner, I'm not sure I would do the LinkedIn Edge. But I will tell you this. I think that there's more application for LinkedIn in retail than we give it credit for. And I think that some retailers are starting to make some headway with LinkedIn as a platform. So it wouldn't hurt you to read that book. And then my sales rep friends, if you guys get Anthony Iannarino's book with Jeb Blunt on AI, I think it's called The AI Edge. I read that. It's a great book. Super good book. We are going to have to be students of AI. And what I love for store owners is an MRT for $97 a month. Jeff and his team of influencers are training on AI on a regular basis. And, it is so good for social media posts. It is so good for so many different things. It's like having a handful of virtual assistants. You just need to get good at prompts. Um, Putting in the proper prompts and learning how to leverage AI takes a little bit of practice, but you can shortcut a lot of it by just joining MRT and following what Jeff is teaching in there about AI for store owners. It is extremely precise. And some of the things that Jeff and I have worked on in my business were helped along and made to happen quicker with AI. So do not be fearful of AI. Embrace it. Understand that AI can be a workforce for you, not just an assistant, a team of assistants, but you have to learn it and you have to spend a little bit of time on it. So is that better, Chris, than my, no, I'm not afraid?
Well, I knew there was more. I knew that. All I needed to do is jab you a little bit. And speaking of Mattress Retailer Toolkit, we're going to say this is RJ, but it could be Tara. Wingo plus MRT plus Pete are three of the very best things I could have ever done for my business. I am forever grateful. That's amazing things to say. And then Texas Mattress Barn says, for first-time entrepreneurs, eliminate as much personal debt as possible. What is your cost of living budget? Cut that in half.
100%. Thank you, Glenn. That is great advice. I still eat peanut butter and jelly just to remind me. That's what I lived on. That and Kraft macaroni and cheese. I miss the ramen noodle thing because I'm too old, but it would have been ramen noodles too.
Do you clip coupons, Pete? Do you and Jenny clip coupons?
Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
We don't need to, but sometimes we do.
Sure.
We're just trying to be, you can't have habits for 30 years and then just discard them. So
yeah,
we're always going to be probably more careful and more conservative than we should be. But
nothing wrong with that.
Best thing I ever did, Chris.
What's that?
Is marry Jenny. I never been out of money since I married her. As a matter of fact, the first thing she did is she found my checks. My desk was so messed up. I had checks. Get this. I had checks from the year before that I didn't even know I had. She had to call the controller of one of the companies, and he said, I've been wondering about that check. He goes, every time I go to call Pete, I get busy doing something else. That check is good. You can deposit it. Please deposit it and let me know you've deposited it, because I have kept that open all these years. It was like a 2-year-old check or something.
Wow.
At least a year old, I forget. But yeah. No, she was the best thing that ever happened to me in 100 different ways, but specifically in business and being more careful. This is a girl who lived off of potatoes, milk, and butter for a year so she could pay off the debts of a bad boyfriend. Literally, not making that story up.
Wow.
Yeah. So she lucked out when she got me, man.
Yeah. You outpunted your coverage, Pete.
I did with that one.
All right. So trying to understand in Arizona asks, Pete, I'm surprised and confused about the wide array of responses to the tariffs from various manufacturers. The range from no price increases to multiple surcharges. How do you see this playing out, and why are the responses of tariffs so different?
Trying to understand in Arizona, that's a great question. I think it has to do with a couple of different things. I think some companies are just opportunists. There's an opportunity in the air to grab a price increase or a surcharge, and they're doing it. Now, here's the question. Are they opportunists because their heart is bad and you know they they just as soon screw their customers, or are they opportunists because they're in financial trouble and they have to, for the benefit of their employees, um they have to grab an increase anytime they can because they're in trouble. So I think those are the two different things that drive it. And there are some companies who are financially strong who are not raising, and will sooner or later they have to raise potentially. But I've had two different companies look at me and go, we're not raising. And if we ever do raise, we're going to be the last company that raises. So my hat is off to those companies for, number one, managing your business well enough and having it streamlined enough that you don't have multiple layers of needless management. And the fact that you've been responsible and you have a good business and that you're successful. When you're successful and you have a good business, you don't need a raise on your customers immediately. To me, raising very fast is either the sign of a weak manufacturer or potentially the sign of a bully whose heart is not in the right place. So that's why I think the responses. How do I think it's going to play out? I have no idea. My gut feeling is it's going to go back and forth a little bit here, and then it'll be sorted out in the next month or two. And then it's, probably going to be really, really good after that. That's what I'm thinking. But the real answer is none of us know. If we pretend to know, we don't know. But I always tend to lean towards optimism, sometimes to my detriment, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, it can be a long game, right? If you do it right, it's like if everyone else around you is raising their costs to their clients or their customers, and you're not, and you're taking that stance. I mean, is that going to create more trust, credibility with your customers because because they have additional costs too outside of that. So it's a bit of a long game to play for sure.
It is.
All right. Let's I was hoping to end with some more positive questions here as we round third and come to home, but this happens to be the next question. This is from Depressed in Texas. Depressed in Texas says, I own several furniture stores. We are struggling to make our numbers. I listened to you about diving into metrics by category. My upholstery is the star. Case goods are down and mattresses are down. My advertising spend is slightly up. I'm afraid to invest anymore as I can't find a media or theme that is performing. How can I fix my mattress sales? From Depressed in Texas.
Okay, so I really need more information, but here's a good place to get you started. Can you put that back?
Sure.
Because I need to read it. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Upholstery has been the star in furniture stores. That is par for the course right now. Upholstery is super strong. Case goods being down is par for the course. Mattresses being down is not par for the course. So what I'm really curious about, Depressed in Texas, has something changed in your mattress business? Have you added vendors? Did you get rid of a vendor that might have been a longtime partner and your sales staff is kind of turned off by that? So this is what we know about furniture salespeople and mattresses. They generally don't like selling them. When they get in the habit of selling a certain way with a certain system, it's usually better to keep that system going unless there's something broken. So I don't know the answers to those. So I'm going to take this one at a time. Your advertising spend is slightly up. I'm afraid to invest anymore. I wouldn't invest anymore until you can find either a message or a media that is performing better. So just throwing money at the problem is never a good idea. What I would do is take $97 a month and join MRT, get in that group. You've got Fawad in there at Exclusive Furniture, who's absolutely brilliant. He is a furniture retailer you could learn a lot from in that group. Of course, Jeff runs that group and he knows mattresses like the back of his hand. So I would do that. If you're really super committed to the mattress category, in addition to that, I would go back to what I said before. Go to Scott Vaughn and Scott Bidwell's masterclass in Paducah, Kentucky. We've had furniture stores that do very well by pretending like you've got a sleep shop inside of your mattress store. Like inside of your furniture store, I have a mattress store. And that's the way it should be promoted. That's the way it should be displayed. That's the way it should be merchandised. It's its own business inside of a furniture store. If you do that, you'll have success. So, I would encourage you to go to, first of all, I would register today. And if you have any questions, ask Scott Vaughn. Scott is an open book. He's always willing to lend a listening ear and to help you. If he doesn't think the masterclass is right for you after talking to you, guess what he's going to say? Don't come to the masterclass. It's not for you, but here's a few things that you can do. And guess what? He'll charge you. Yeah. Zero. It's because he's a good human being. He wants to do the right thing. Same thing with Janakovo. Jeff Janakovo, if he couldn't help you with MRT, he'd give you your money back. He'd probably ask you 10 questions. And by the time you got through the 10 questions, you could figure out how to help yourself. But those are the things that I would do to fix my mattress sales. Think carefully about what's changed. Here's the other thing that happens sometimes in furniture stores. You do these beautiful furniture galleries, but you leave your mattresses like in the dark ages. So everything in the store is updated and you've got these beautiful galleries, but you're not really keeping up the mattress department with the rest of the store. So that can happen as well. I have a top 100. Their mattresses, their display is not up to snuff. They have beautiful vignettes in the furniture areas, and they have galleries that are literally world class. But when you go to the mattress department, it's almost like something out of the 80s. And so, keep that in mind as well. Chris, what do you got?
You
got an umbrella for me. It's the end of the show.
Well, yeah, really quickly, and this is good because RJ came through in the chat, so that we can end on a more positive note. So RJ is, I'm going to assume this is RJ, is asking you favorite city to do business in, and then your favorite food after closing a big deal. That's a great question. I like this.
I like that, RJ.
I'm gonna guess steak. That's my guess. for favorite food.
Don't get a steak very often, so it would definitely be a steak. It would be a Chateaubriand. The appetizer would be a Caesar salad made at the table,
Nice.
and then the dessert would be peach flambe made at the table and lit. And if you
Pete,
can
that
tell
was literally
that I'm very
lit.
spoiled by that answer, I've had that meal quite a few times in my life, and I actually enjoy it.
And is your favorite city to do business in Jacksonville, Pete? Just
I would
asking
have
for
to
a
say
friend.
it's Jacksonville, since RJ's asking me the question. My favorite city is quickly becoming Cincinnati, Ohio, actually. I do a lot of business in Cincinnati, Ohio. So that's probably my favorite city to do business in, because there's a lot of business there for me, and with all my lines. You should be on Food Network, Pete.
Scott thinks you should be on the
Scott
Food Network.
Vaughn.
Like me, yeah. Let's pitch the Food Network on having a Pete Primeau, deal closing meal show. What do you think? I mean, you can't. I mean, thank you, gentlemen, for another great show from RJ and for all you do. See you on Friday for Mastermind. Sell a million, everyone.
I will see you guys on Friday for the Mastermind, and I'll look forward to it. Chris, thank you for a great show, man. Appreciate
Thank you, Pete.
And everybody that chimed in, thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. And guys, go forward and sell a million this week. And I'll see you on Friday.
And have fun.